Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto. And today's guest is Chris Esquilin, who has lost over 100 pounds. Is that awesome or what? Chris is married and he has 2 sons, and guess what? They are all on keto. His wife has even lost 80 pounds. That is awesome. So let's go and say hi to Chris. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto, the show that highlights ordinary people achieving extraordinary results and changing their lives for the better with a ketogenic diet. You too can be healthier and live better by adopting this amazing lifestyle. If you are new to the show, new episodes go live every Wednesday for your encouragement and support. And all show notes can be found at bewellbeketo.com. Listen each week and add the show to your favorites on your best podcast app. And if you know any cool people that would like to share their story, please contact us at support@highenergygirl.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, which I highly recommend, you can either join our Facebook group called High Energy Girls, if you're a girl, or follow us on Instagram and YouTube at The High Energy Girl. Now let's get to this week's episode with your host, Tracy Gluhige. Yep, that's me. Guess what, everyone? My book is out. It is a revised and updated edition of a book I wrote 5 years ago called No Frickin' Way, 21 Days to Ditch the Diet and Lose Weight the Keto Way by Loving Yourself to Health. When I first wrote the original book, I was not a believer in the low-carb movement, but after all the years of research I've done, I am sold out for life. In this book, you will learn about all the lies you have been fed, how to engage in loving self-care, how to eat nourishing foods that provide massive energy, why the ketogenic diet is not a fad, how to heal your body through fasting, why you should move your body to get stronger, and how to create an empowering mindset. Start reading now and finally achieve the high energy and positive body image you deserve. Check it out on Kindle, on Amazon. And if you like it, please leave us a review because this will help more people find it. I really want to inspire people to not deprive themselves, but to nourish themselves with loving self-care and amazingly healthy food so that they can age stronger. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Oh, well, I'm super excited because I know you have some massive success to share with the listeners. So why don't you tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. So my name is Chris. I'm 30 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've been on the keto diet for almost 2 years now, and I've lost 125 pounds up to this point so far.
Gosh. Is that just like amazing? That's like almost a whole person.
Well, it's really funny because anytime I'm telling people, they're like, "Hey, how much are you down?" And I'll tell them, they're like, "You literally just lost a person." And
So tell us about the beginning of your journey. Like what was before keto? Where were you before that?
Sure. So before keto, kind of up until the last couple of years, it was the standard American diet. I've actually been overweight for as long as I can remember, since I think the last time I remember being thin was like around 5. So all throughout school and high school, just had weight problems, and I've tried to go on multiple diets, and I would lose maybe 20 pounds or 30 pounds here and there, and then put it right back on. So before keto, I had actually gotten up to about 350 pounds and 3X clothes and 44 waist pants, and at that point I just had to make a change.
Yeah. And then how'd you find keto?
So the funny thing is, I had some friends that had kind of been in the paleo community and had been kind of doing that on and off a little bit. And, I'd found out about Maria and Craig Emmerich through my wife. So we had actually followed a little bit about keto for a few years, but I was just always super skeptical of it. And then a couple years ago, my younger brother, Keith, he actually jumped on keto, and he had dropped like 30 pounds, and we're like, "Man, what are you doing?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm on this keto thing." And I'm like, "Oh, I know what that is." And this was 2017. It was right around Christmas time, and it was just like, you know what, maybe we need to give this keto thing a try. He's doing it and it's working for him. So that was kind of the start.
Oh, cool. What did you love about it, being a typical guy?
Well, I am a huge meat eater. So it was funny because, we were kind of going through like the stuff that I couldn't eat. And I was like, wait, I can eat bacon and I can eat eggs and I can eat chicken. I'm like, it's good enough for me. And I was sold.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All the guys, they love the bacon. It's like just say bacon and you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I first started, I was like, "Wait, bacon and eggs? I can just do bacon and eggs every meal. This is amazing." Obviously, I learned, more about it as I went in, and that was enough to get me started.
Yeah. So what? Tell us about it. Did you tell us your whole story? I want the juicy details, Chris. Like, did you count your macros? Did you have any keto flu? Like, give us the whole juicy details.
So it's funny. So my brother started on the keto journey, and like I said, he was the one who kind of inspired us to finally just get started on it. Luckily for me, my wife, she's also struggled with weight issues, and she was like, you know what, let's do this together. We had both tried to do different diet things here and there, and we could never kind of agree on it. So one person would see some success, but then the other person would struggle with it, and so we both were like, you know what, let's do keto. And so it was Christmas 2017, and we started about 3 days afterwards. I think it was the 27th, and we were like, you know what, let's just go for this. And the funny thing is, we wanted to start it before New Year's because I didn't want it to be another New Year's resolution that we felt. So we were like, you know what, let's just jump in and let's get started. For me, I'm a very much kind of all or nothing kind of person. So I was just like, you know what, let's just jump into it. And we jumped into it cold turkey. Funny thing is, for me, I actually didn't really experience any keto flu. It hit my wife really hard. It probably would have been smart to kind of ease into it, but I wanted to just dive in all the way. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do this for 30 days. If we can just make it 30 days and, see if we can drop some weight. And, so we dove into it. And the funny thing is, throughout this whole journey, except for, maybe a couple times when I'm curious, I never actually got into counting macros. I was just like, I'm just going to focus on the keto foods, keep my carbs as low as I can, and then we'll figure out the rest. Because, to be honest, I thought it was going to be a 30-day thing and we'd see where it went from there. In the past, I really hadn't stuck to any diet longer than that. So, I didn't really get into the macro counting. We were just like, let's just do this for 30 days. And I remember, I think 20 pounds dropped off the first month, and I was like, oh, okay, I believe in this. Let's keep it going. And then, here we are a couple years later now.
Wow, that's motivation for sure. I mean, really, right? To keep you going. What about your wife? Did she have success like you?
Yeah, so she's actually, up until this point, dropped about 80 pounds herself. And I think what's most amazing to me is, one, that I've had her support. That's been huge. But two, she struggles with a lot of autoimmune, hypothyroid, Hashimoto's. So I'm just amazed that, she's been able to see the results that she has as well.
That is super cool. So I just got off the phone with a brand new client who has hypothyroid and is on medication. And I told her about keto and how, she's going to be working with me for the next 90 days. And so, I told her about it. It's been going on for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's insane. I mean, I obviously heard about it, but being married to my wife and seeing the struggles she went through, I mean, I saw what she was eating and I saw what I was eating, and although we didn't necessarily have a healthy diet, it's just like she started gaining weight, like a lack of energy and brain fog and all these things. And, doctors would, try to figure out the dosage of medicines. And, we jumped on keto, and this was like the first thing that would work, and it kept on working. It was sustainable. So we were amazed at how good it was working.
So I'm taking it you're committed?
Absolutely. After that first 30 days, when I saw those results and I, saw how good I was feeling, I was like, I'm on this for life. So I have no plans to stop anytime.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, and, I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but just the whole, like when you start diving into the science and you understand how it's so anti-inflammatory, and there's so many, like my dad had cancer, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. So that is, it's like a lifestyle plan to hopefully prevent disease, you know?
Yeah, and that's something that really spoke to me because one of the other reasons why I was so set on trying to lose weight is I was getting into my upper 20s, and I was like, I went to the doctor when I hit 350, and he was like, luckily for you, you're young and you've got youth on your side. But he's like, as you get into your early 30s, is like, if you don't change, you're going to see some issues. And thing is, on my on my family side, we have a history of high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. My grandfather actually passed away when I was really young. He actually had diabetes, really bad complications, and I remember he had to get his leg amputated, and it just really did some bad things to him. And I've got uncles that are struggling with it, and I was just like, that's the path I'm going down unless I make a change.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a really good point when you say it that way, and you're in your late 20s.
So I just turned 30 this past June.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I mean, isn't that so exciting though? Because you have more than half of your life ahead of you to live in such a healthier way. And, what kind of so you lost a lot of weight. So I'm guessing that brought a lot of benefits to your life. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one, it's just I've got a lot less kind of just pain from standing up. I worked retail a lot amount of years, and having that much weight to just carry around and walk, like I was sore all the time. And then two, I've always been in the sports since I was younger, and just even like playing volleyball or playing pickup basketball with friends, I'm like, man, I can actually move. Like, this is great. And then just even like just confidence issues. I never realized, until I got a little bit older, I've always had a lot of self-esteem issues just because, you go to a pool party and, I'm just kind of trying to make excuses. I love swimming, but I'm trying to make excuses and just kind of hide in the corner because I'm too embarrassed to take my shirt off, or, just even shopping, like going to places and, I got to get the big and tall and the husky stuff. And, I got tired of all that. And, losing weight, it's amazing. Like, there's so many clothes in my closet that were just sitting there for years and I could fit them. And, just seeing those changes, they were huge for me because it's funny because as I was losing weight, like I almost didn't believe it. I was tracking it on one of those smart scales and I was just like, I see it going down, but I don't believe it until I started seeing my clothes fitting better, until, I started seeing photos of me, in months beforehand. It's when I first, kind of started to believe it and really get into it. And, I could see changes in my confidence. I was feeling great. A lot of people would come up to me and they're like, man, you're looking good. And it just, it would help me to keep moving forward.
That is so cool. And now, do you guys have any kids?
No, not yet. And that's honestly the other thing is, we would like to have kids, within the next, maybe year, couple years. And I was just like, if we're going to try and raise a family, we should probably be healthy. I'd like to be able to, I know how I was as a kid. And if my future kid comes out anywhere near as hyper, I need energy to be able to chase after them.
Yeah, you do. I had 3 boys in 3 years, and you need to have energy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got an older brother and younger brother, so I know how it is living in a household with three boys, and I'm just like, if I'm going to deal with anything like that, I need to be able to actually chase after them.
Yeah, and you will, and you'll feel so much better, and your wife's labor will be so much better, and easier than before.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Now, did you exercise to get the weight off, or was it all diet?
So for the first probably 2 months or almost 3 months, it was strictly diet. And then that was the other thing is once we started, doing the diet and started losing weight, I felt great and I had more energy. So then I started incorporating exercising. One of the things I really like about you is that you put an emphasis on the gym, and it's something that I've fallen in love with the last few months. Beforehand I maybe played some sports here and there, played some soccer and basketball, but I really started hitting the gym up pretty heavily and doing resistance training and lifting weights. So I started that probably like 2.5 months in, and just been picking it up ever since then.
Ah, cool. I bet you're strong.
Well, it's funny because one of my friends, he's been a weightlifter for a while, and on certain things I can keep up with him. And I just realized, like, man, having to carry around 350 pounds, that builds strong muscle, because that's a lot of weight to hold up all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what do you weigh now? 225?
So right now I'm right at about 225.
So are you in your happy zone?
I'm getting there. I would really like to get down to about 205 and kind of see where I am. But right now the funny thing is, since I've gotten down to this point, I really haven't been paying attention to the scale as much. I've just been focusing on body composition and lifting in the gym. I've started to really be able to see some changes. So that's my focus right now, is just continue to eat healthy and keep working out, worry a little bit less about the scale, and just kind of see the changes in the mirror and in the way my clothes fit.
Oh yeah, I 100%, that's my thing. Like, I wrote a book called No Frickin' Way, and it's because I don't want people to be so obsessed with the scale like I used to be,
Yeah.
So
and what's hard is in the beginning, the scale has definitely been helpful. Like I said, I could track where I was, and I can look back on a year ago and see how much progress I've made. But one of the traps is sometimes we can become obsessed with the scale, and then it's just like, oh man, I'm stuck this weight, I'm not losing anything. But it's like, literally, you just lost a person. Like, give yourself some slack. Like, and that that's been huge for me, because I still have another, in my mind, another 20 pounds to go, and I just try not to get caught up in that and just work on working out, being healthy, and I know I'll get there eventually.
yeah, exactly. And you know what is that? It's a journey, and it's all about trusting in the process. And some people, like guys, tend to lose faster. I'm sure you've heard those complaints from your wife, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, and then you have, other people have different issues. And so what I want people to be encouraged by is that your success is your success, and the only competition is staring back at you in the mirror. Don't be discouraged if you're not a fast loser like other people. I mean, like Chris obviously is a fast loser. That's a lot of weight to lose really fast. So that's awesome. So what other...
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think the biggest trap a lot of people can get into, especially when you're joining keto, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't drop 60 pounds in 30 days. And it's just, don't worry about that. Just worry about the journey, get healthy, and, the rest of that will fall in place in due time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, do you guys see this as, one question. I keep going ahead of myself. Did you have any like hiccups? Like, did you have any slip-ups or any, things that held you back?
I didn't really have any slip-ups. It's funny. One of the things that I noticed is, like, for me, I've heard this term a few times, but people talk about moderators and abstainers. I definitely learned that I'm for sure an abstainer. I was always really hardcore about, like, I'm not going to have a cheat meal. I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm just going to stick with it, because I know my tendencies. And I had a tendency always before to just lose control, like start eating some sugar and start, go to a party where there's a bunch of food and just, look back at the end of the day and realize like how much stuff I was just like shoveling into my mouth and without any control. So I've been really strict with just, not having any slip ups and really trying to stay as strict as possible. Whereas like, for example, with my wife, she has a lot more self-control than I do. Like, she has the ability to, maybe have a little bit of something and then put the rest away. With me, I struggle with that control. So I just try to stay away from it, period. Mm-hmm. I did notice that, even though we weren't tracking macros, one of the things I had to kind of slow down on was, some of the like keto desserts and fat bombs. Those are always my favorite thing to make, because they're super quick and, but before you know it, you can eat a whole tray of fat bombs and it's just like, wait, why am I not losing right now? And it's like, well, because I just loaded up on those. So I definitely had to transition, I guess, to trying to eat a lot more whole foods and focus on those rather than like the keto products that are out there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because honestly, like those are addictive too, Like I remember when I first started, I made like a whole bunch of fat bombs and I didn't just eat one or two, I was like, oh, that's good. It's keto. I can have it. And,
Right. Yeah, like I'd make a tray of like chocolate fat bombs, and my wife eats one or two, and then she's good to go. And I'm like, I got to finish this whole plate. And while I wasn't gaining weight from it, it definitely would keep me from losing. So I had to even be careful with that. And it's really hard to overeat for me, like meat and vegetables. Like those are they're so filling, they're nutrient dense, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna overeat those. So if I focus on that, I'm good.
Yeah. I allow myself now, because I've learned, but I don't eat anything sweet until I'll have like one, not even every night, but occasionally I'll have something sweet, but it has to be after dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because I used to just like, if I'd have a little bit of something sweet, then I'd want a little bit more and then a little bit more. And now I know I just can't even start.
Yeah, and that's always my big issue is just like, once you start, it's like, man, those are really good. Like I'm not even hungry anymore, but I just want to eat them because they're really good.
Yeah.
And that's something, especially, I mean, I've played around with it. Some of the, like intermittent fasting and time restricted eating, but it's something that I've been a lot more conscious about now is some of the snacking. Because that was a problem is, I keep like macadamia nuts and keep fat bombs and keep this. And it's just, I just want to eat them because they're there and they're convenient and I'm used to doing so, like when I'm watching TV. So I had to make, especially in more recent months, because I think I hit about 100 pounds and I hit a stall for about 2 months. And one of the things I started incorporating some intermittent fasting and just not eating as often, not snacking in between meals. And I think that was one of the things that made a huge difference and kind of helped me to continue losing.
Mm-hmm. And I love fasting. I feel so much better when I don't eat, throughout the day. I have more energy. That's a huge game changer, which I never thought. Have you done any extended fasting?
I haven't really. I would say, I mean, I think the longest I've done has really just been more of like an 18-6 window. I haven't really done any kind of extended like 24-hour or 72 hours. It's something I've thought about, just kind of seeing the research that people have been doing, but it's not something I've really thought about. So most of the time it's been more, I guess, of a time restricted. So, kind of skipping breakfast and, maybe eating later on in the afternoon, but it's definitely something I'm looking into for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, to me, it's more about like your, mental game, like, truly, it's so for me, I did a 3-day extended fast. Physically, I felt fine, but mentally, I just wanted to choose something.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing. Even just doing like the intermittent fasting, like it's really liberating to not have to think about food every second. Because before it's like wake up in the morning, oh my gosh, what am I going to have for breakfast, and then the mid-morning snack, and then lunch, and then something in between there, and then dinner, and then eating after dinner. It's like that's exhausting when you think about it. Having to eat all the time, so it's kind of nice to actually just have more time in a day to do stuff because I'm not constantly eating all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like freeing. I used to do that too. I used to eat at 7, 10, 1, 4, 7, and 10. Like I was convinced that I had to constantly be feeding my muscles and stoking my metabolism. And, I'm stronger and leaner now than I ever have been. And I don't do that,
Right. And that was the thing is like you see the one of the things I used to buy into all the time, especially when, when I tried to lose weight in the past, they're like, oh, you don't want to, you want to make sure that you eat like 6 small meals a day because you don't want your metabolism to slow. And then you're just like shoveling food every couple hours. And I'm just like, I feel the greatest I've ever been. And I might eat twice a day, and I feel great. So, I mean, I don't know where those recommendations come from, but it's super nice to not have to eat all the time. And, I feel great, mentally, I feel great. And, I don't see going back to that style ever.
I think it's because they want to sell more shakes and bars. I seriously do. Like if I look back at those programs, like I remember the first one was Body for Life. Mm-hmm. And then there was another one called Reset. And it was like, they sell the protein powders and the protein bars and all that stuff. And they just want to sell more stuff. So they tell you, oh, you need to eat and you're busy, right? Like who has time to cook meals and prep food all that time? So I think it's a marketing game.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no money in not eating, I guess.
I know. I was telling somebody, they were like, well, there's no proof that such and such works. And I said, that's because there's no pharmaceutical money to fund a study to go improve things because, there's no money to be made if it's true. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Well, that's the amazing thing about keto. It's like everyone. I mean, it's probably like to me, it's the most natural diet that we've been eating for years. I mean, you think about it. We never had like all this food available all the time whenever we wanted to, and I think it's something that we take for granted now because everything's available. Like you don't even have to leave the house now. You can just order it on an app and they bring it to your door. So it's just like the concept of not eating, I think, is kind of weird for people, but like that's become normal now, and it's nice, and it's cheaper too. Like I've had some friends that are like, "Oh man, keto's too expensive. I can't do this." I'm just like, you're literally not eating as much food, so I don't see how.
Yeah, you're just not as hungry. I mean, that's the that's the truth. So
Right.
what's your favorite recipe? Like, what is your favorite thing? Does your wife cook or do you cook or?
So we both kind of team up. I'm definitely more of the cook. I watch a lot of the cooking shows, and I'm a little bit more adventurous in there. But I would say favorite thing to cook. Well, definitely one of my favorite meals is just bacon and eggs. I never get tired of that, and I could eat that every day. But we actually just bought, or my parents got for us an air fryer for my birthday. And
Oh,
that is my new favorite thing. I use that thing probably 4 days a week now. It's nice. We've experienced, like, we make chicken wings at home and they come out really good. My wife actually was playing around with making some fried eggplant. So we, crush up pork rinds and then, dip the eggplant in there, and those come out. They came out amazing. And so that's my thing now is the air fryer and just seeing how creative we can get with it because it's amazing and it saves a lot of time and you don't have to clean up a bunch of oil afterwards. So I'm loving that thing right now.
okay. So do me a favor and send me a couple recipes, and I'm going to put them on the show notes page for the listeners. But they're also
Absolutely.
for me because I have an air fryer and I've hardly never used it.
It's once you get into it, I was skeptical of them for a while and I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this. It's a gimmick, but then you start using it and it's amazing. Like we were making some burgers the other day and it's like, man, it'd be nice to have fries. So we bought some of the, I think they're called jicama fries. And they're a lot lower carb. And we threw those in there and we had literally had a burger and fries. It was the most amazing thing.
Were those good? The jicama fries?
Yeah, they were amazing. I actually found them at Trader Joe's. They have them in a container where they're already cut up for you. So you just, mix them up with some avocado oil and some seasoning and throw them in the air fryer and it does the rest of the work for you.
Oh, are they in the frozen section?
They're actually in the the vegetable section, like all the packaged vegetables. It's just a little container of them. I think it's like $5 or so. And yeah, we just found them there and that's where I normally get them.
Wow. Okay, that's a win. I've never heard of those. I
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, they taste amazing, and it gives you the taste of fries. So if you're really missing them,
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to definitely try those. I think we're going to have hamburgers this weekend. I love lettuce wrap burgers.
oh yeah, bunless burgers. That's my thing. Anywhere we go out to a restaurant, chances are they're gonna have burgers, and a lot of the places it's cool. They've gotten used to people asking for them, so they don't look at you weird anymore. But yeah, if you haven't done that too, making burgers in the air fryer is pretty amazing. I'm a huge grill guy. I love grilling food, but sometimes it's not convenient. But probably after a grill, the air fryer probably makes the best burgers I've ever had.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah, we have a Traeger grill. Have you seen those before?
That's something that I want. The next time we have some money to splurge, I really want a Traeger grill.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed. I smoked some salmon today, so I just had food to eat this weekend,
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely love the Traeger for sure. So
Oh yeah, that's definitely on my list of future purchases for sure.
yeah, everybody needs one. We're already on our second, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. So
Yeah, it's nice. One of the things that's good for us is we have a local farmers market that has a lot of like pesticide-free vegetables, and then we've got two farmers, one that does, grass-fed beef and organic chicken, and the other one does organic pork products. So I've been joking, the moment I get a Traeger grill, they're probably going to double my business with them.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me, I need to go to the farmer's market. We have a guy who has the same type of thing. I just haven't gone in the last few weeks. I usually have to go help my mom on Saturday, and I miss it. But now that I reminded, I'm going to put it in my calendar to go first thing. Great idea. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, that's definitely a tip I recommend for everyone. Like if you have a local farmer like that, it's great because I can ask them questions. I know, the type of stuff that, the cows are eating. I know that there's no chemicals, and, it's just nice to support someone local. But I mean, I can get everything. If I want a fattier cut of meat, they can get that for me. If I want, pork skin, if I want beef tallow, like they literally have everything that I would want. So it's just really nice. To have some variety, and it's local. I know where it came from, and they definitely appreciate it, and they help me out. So it ends up being better than going to the grocery store.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you just know what you're getting, because like I heard an interesting story that if a cow eats corn, most corn is sprayed with glyphosate. Or has glyphosate embedded in it because it's GMO. And okay, so I might be getting a little bit of this wrong. Okay, so I might not say it exactly right, but they can trace that glyphosate to the end user.
Right, that's what I've heard too.
So it's crazy, right?
Yeah, well, and it's nice because the other thing is you buy like commercial beef from a store. I mean, you don't know how many cows that thing has been blended up with for a pound of ground beef. Whereas, I know when I buy it from the farmer, it's coming from one cow. I remember he was one of the ones that kind of got us into the grass-fed beef thing. And I asked him his philosophy on it. And he was just like, hey, God designed these cows to eat grass and nothing else. And so it's nice because I know there's no chemicals there. And then, it kind of helps with sustainability, the cows eat the grass, and then, the chickens come behind them and eat all the worms, and they fertilize the ground. And it's just, I know I feel better about it. They treat the animals better too, and that's something that's kind of important to us, especially since we're big meat eaters. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you have a farmer's market, around you, definitely try and support them.
Absolutely. And it's like so there's two things I want to tell you. One is there's a great book I think you'll love called The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan.
I have to look it up.
It's really interesting. But it talks about what you were just mentioning, about the sustainable farms and what happened to agriculture and why everything got ruined as far as separating the crops from the livestock. And it's really, really a good book. But then the other thing is that when they put a cow in the feedlot and they feed them corn, they get so fat they could barely move in the sludge. And it's just disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I forget the name of it. There was a documentary we were watching on, I think it was like Food Matters or one of those.
Yeah.
That they were showing they literally have to cut a hole in the cow and remove stuff from their intestines. I'm just like, how is that normal?
Yeah, it's cruel. I mean, really.
Right.
So, yeah, that's not good. So right. What words of wisdom would you want to tell our listeners that are just getting started with the keto lifestyle?
So I think the biggest couple tips I have is, one, I think it's really easy to focus on all the stuff that you can't have. So I definitely recommend, focus on the stuff that you can have and how amazing it is. I mean, you're eating real food, you're eating meat, you're eating eggs, vegetables. If you focus on the things that you can have, and this is coming from somebody who was a carboholic and a sugar addict, you don't crave that stuff when you've gotten rid of it. And I think, I definitely encourage people to stick to it and be as strict as you can, especially in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, for the rest of your life, you can't ever have a slice of cake at your child's birthday party. But, I've seen a couple of friends that we've helped, and, it's just they go 2 weeks and it's oh, I cheated. And then that turns into 3 days. And then all of a sudden they're back, to square one. So I think just go as long as you can and really commit to it. And if you do, you're definitely going to see the changes. It's going to be a little hard at first, with the whole keto flu, but definitely stick to it. Make sure you stay hydrated. I literally carry around a thing of pink Himalayan salt in my book bag. maybe a little obsessive, but then I know I have all the stuff with me, and I just, I try to, uh, just be as strict as possible. Really, really dive into it, and you'll start seeing the benefits. And then, later on, if there's, like I said, if there's a meal or something you want to try, that's fine. But I really believe you really have to be, convicted on it, and just really, really go for it. And you'll definitely see some results for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for the long game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to make it a llifestyle. I mean, that everybody always says, oh, it's a lifestyle, but I mean, I really believe that. And if you make it a lifestyle, that means you're really going to go for it. And you'd be surprised at how things change. Like, I go to work and they've got candy and they've got soda and donuts, and like one of the vendors today just brought in bagels and like all that stuff. I used to have to eat it before, and now it's just like it doesn't even faze me. Like I don't want it. I don't struggle with it anymore. And that's definitely something that wouldn't have happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm actually afraid to eat that stuff, really, truly, because I know I'll feel like crap. And here's a funny story. So one day I went to the movies, and my mom, she has Alzheimer's, and she wanted popcorn, so we got popcorn, and I ate some popcorn with her. We just got a small one, no big deal.
Right.
But literally the next morning, I could not turn my car on because my right knuckle was so inflamed that I couldn't. So I know it was the popcorn. That's the only thing that I ate differently.
Oh yeah. And it's just, I mean, for me, I'm like, I know like how addicted I was to that bad food. I'm just like, why would I do that to myself again? Like, I just want to put myself in a position where I can have success. And, I hear some people like, oh, I can't give this up. I just, like, I just want to live a little, and, that doesn't seem like any fun. I'm just like, you know what? I feel like I'm living fine. It wasn't fun being 350 pounds and, addicted to sugar. Like, I feel great now. So if that means missing out on some bread, I will gladly take that.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing I just told a new client. Like, do not eat bread. No gluten. I don't care if you go off, like, because you're at a party or whatever, go off, but do not eat bread. No gluten.
Oh yeah, well, and the thing is, it's especially nowadays with keto becoming more popular, it's really not that hard. I mean, I'd rather not go to fast food if I don't have to. But I mean, the other day I didn't really have a choice. It was late at night, and we hadn't eaten all day, and I think I went to like a McDonald's or somebody and just got a burger with nothing on it, and like they wrapped it up in lettuce for me. Like a lot of places you can find ways to make it keto. You can have a burger without a bun. You can get salads. A lot more people are getting educated on it, so you can ask questions. Like I was excited to learn there's a place about 20 minutes from my house. They actually are a bakery that makes keto baked goods. So I mean, there's a lot of places that are making it easier. So even if you are on the run or you don't have time to meal prep, you can still make good decisions if you're committed enough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, everywhere you go, like even my normal regular grocery store, it says keto food available, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, right. Oh gosh. Right.
So I think, if you really are committed to it, I mean, you can make it work. It's definitely possible. But, you mentioned something about like the mental aspect. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, the weight will come off and, all that other stuff, but just like the changes mentally, like, I had to really confront a lot of food addictions and food issues throughout this process, and just being able to have some strength over those, like it feels great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally agree. So how can people find you on social?
So I am actually on Instagram. I just recently changed my name, so it's Keto Chris 89, and that's been a big game changer for me because I, try to document my journey and workouts and what I'm cooking and different recipes that I like. So Keto Chris 89 is where you can find me, and I'd love to help encourage people. So definitely feel free to send me a message anytime or follow me, and I will follow you back.
Awesome. Well, Chris, I am looking forward to your recipes, hint, hint, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You are an absolute doll, and you're so inspiring. So keep up the good work, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wow. I bet you are inspired by that. Can you imagine the grit and the commitment and the dedication it takes to lose over 100 pounds? So I'm super excited to share that story with you today. And if you know any great guests that would be good for the show and have a story to inspire others, please send them my way. Also, maybe that guest is you. So hit me up at tracy@highenergygirl.com. That's Tracy with 2 E's, I hope you know. And if you like the show, please head on over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. And if you have any questions that you'd like me to cover of topics, please email me those questions so I can take care of you and answer you on the next episode. Okay? We're going to do live Q&A. So anyways, thanks for listening and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.